Hello everyone, my name is Nitisha from NRA Institute of Technology. So let us discuss machine learning. So let us see the contents we are going to discuss in this video. Firstly, R data structures, which includes vectors, lists, data frames, matrices and arrays, and also managing data with R, followed by exploring and understanding data, structured data, numeric and categorical variables, exploring relationship between variables, understanding imbalanced data sets, outliers and noisy data. So firstly, let us see what is our data structures. So basically, data structure is a way of arranging, storing and also organizing the data. Our data structure consists of vectors, lists, arrays, matrix, factors and data frames. So let us see what is vectors. Vector is a data structure in which the elements are arranged in a sequential order. There are two types of vectors. One is atomic vector and the other is list. So firstly let us see what is atomic vector. Atomic vector consists of similar type of elements, whereas lists consists of similar or different types of elements. So to know the type of the vector, we use type method. For example, let us see k equals to c of 1, 3, 5, 7, 8. To know the type of the k, we use type of k function to know the type. So the output will be integer because the k vector contains integers. To find out the number of elements present in a vector, we use length function. So from the above example, to find the length of the k, we use length of k function, which gives the output as 5 because k contains 5 elements. So next, let us see how to create a vector. Vector can be created in three different ways. First one is using C method, and the other one is using colon method, and lastly using sequential method. So let us create a vector using C method. The basic syntax is vector name equals to C method. The elements are placed in the method which are separated by comma. For example, v1 is the name of the vector here, which is followed by C of elements. The elements here is 29, 5, 21, 14 and 76. So to find out the type of the v1, we give the type of v1 as an input and we get integer as an output because v1 contains integers. So next let us create a vector using colon method. The basic syntax for this method is vector name equals to starting element followed by colon and ending element. So let us see the example. R equals to 3 colon 8. Here 3 is the starting element and 8 is the ending element. So if we want to know which elements are there in R vector, we print the R vector and which gives the output from 3 to 7. Accessing vector elements. So let us see how to access elements of the vector. It is a process of performing operation on an individual element of a vector. There are many ways through which we can access the elements of a vector. The most common way is using square brace symbol. So let us see the first type of accessing the elements using subscript operator. It uses index to retrieve the elements. For example, if we see here the vector x which contains elements 1, 3, 5, 6, 7. So if we want to retrieve an element of index 2, we have to use cat operation which includes vector with its index. So here we want to retrieve the element which is present in second index of the x vector. So we give the input as cat of x. In the square braces we will give the index of the required element. So as you can see that the second indexed element is 3. So we get the output 3. Next, the other way of accessing the elements from vector is using combining function. So in this process we pass a range of value of indexes to get multiple elements at a time. So as you can see the example right here, y tends to c of 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So if we give cat of y of c 4, 1 means it will give the fourth indexed element and first indexed element. As you can clearly see that in y vector fourth indexed element is 8 and first indexed element is 5. So we will get the both the elements that is 8 and 5 as an output. So let us see what are the operations that can be performed on a vector. One is combining two vectors, addition, subtraction, multiplication, division, modular division, sorting and also the reversed sorting. So let us see the arithmetic operations first. The basic arithmetic operation, that is addition. Let us see how to perform addition on two vectors. Let us consider two vectors x and y, as x contains the following elements 5, 2, 5, 1, 51, 2, and y contains the following elements 7, 9, 1, 5, 2 and 1. So in order to get a vector which is a combination of both x and y, we use the basic operation, which means the new result element equals to both the vectors which we need to add. Here the new vector is z and the vectors which needs to be added is x and y. So z equals to y plus x or x plus y. So to retrieve the addition of two vectors, we print the resultant vector, that is print z. So we will get the output. So the output will be in a order that the first element of the x vector is added to the first element of the y vector. So as you can clearly see that 5 plus 7 is 12. So the first element is 12. And the second element of x vector is added with the second element of the y vector. 2 plus 9, which is 11. So similarly, all the elements are retrieved by adding with their respective y elements. So let us see how subtraction is performed on two vectors. It is similar to the addition, but the only difference is we use minus symbol in the place of plus symbol, and the operations are also performed in the same way. First element of x vector is subtracted by the first element of the y. So 5 minus 7, which is minus 2, and second element of x vector is subtracted by second element of the y vector, 2 minus 9, which is minus 7. Similarly, all the elements are retrieved by performing subtraction operation on the two vectors. So let us see how multiplication is performed. Here x tends to c of similar x and y are same vectors which we perform addition and subtraction. So the only difference is the symbol between x and y. Here z equals to x into y. If we print the z, the output will be multiplication of two vectors, that is x and y. 5 into 7, that is 35, and second element of x is multiplied by second element of y, that is 2 into 9, 18. Similarly, the remaining all elements are retrieved by multiplying the respective elements from x and y with each other. So let us see how is division performed on the two vectors. As I said, the only difference in arithmetic operations is the symbol between the two vectors. Here z tends to x divided by y. That means the elements of x is divided by the elements of y with each other in a respective way. So as you can clearly see that 5 is the first element of x and 7 is the first element of y. If we divide 5 with 7, we will get 0.712 as a result, which is printed in the output. And the second element of x is 2 and the second element of y is 9. If we divide 2 with 9, we get the output as 0.222. In a similar kind, the x and y are divided with each other to get the output. So let us see how the elements of the vectors are reversed. Reversing is nothing but sorting the elements in an ascending order. If we can see that the example we took is x tends to 5, 2, 5, 1, 51 and 2. If we want to sort the given x vector, we use the function called sort, and we store the sorted vector in a new vector. So here we use a vector to store the sorted vector of the x. So if we print the vector, we get the output as in a sorted way. As you can clearly see that the least element in the x vector is 1 and the highest element in the x vector is 51. It is arranged in an ascending order. So if you want to sort the elements in descending order, it is same as ascending order, but the only difference is we give decreasing equals to true in the sort function. As you can clearly see that v equals to sort of x comma decreasing equals to true. That means we are arranging the vector in a descending order. So as you can clearly see that the sort function sorts the vector in an ascending order, and the sort of decreasing value equals to true function sorts the array in vector in descending order. Lists. it is a kind of vector which contains different kinds of elements. The only difference between vector and a list is list can contain different types of elements. Those elements can be numbers, characters, vectors, lists, and also some matrices. So let us see what are the operations that can be performed on a list. So basically let us see first how to create a list. We can create a list by using list method. The basic syntax is list name followed by list of the elements which are present in the list. For example, as you can see, X is the name of the list and the elements present in the X are 1 and the character N which is quoted in a double characters, and 8.5 which is a float data type. As you can clearly see that the X is a list which contains 3 different kinds of elements. One is an integer and N is a character and 8.5 is a float. So as I have already said that list contain different types of elements. Let us see how to access the elements of the list. So accessing elements in a list is done by using index. So let us see the X list which contains 1 integer, B character, 7.9 float, true boolean, -4 integer, and list can also contain lists. So the last element of the list named X is containing another sublist which contains 1, 2, 3. So in order to retrieve an element from the list, we need to specify it by using the index. Here if we want to retrieve the element which is present in second index, we give print of X of 2. So the output will be D, which is present in the second index of the list. So let us see how to add elements into a list. So let us consider L is a list name of the list which contains 3 elements, that is 1, 5 and N. So if we want to add the fourth element which is 8.8 to the list, we will specify the element with its respective index directly. So initially there are 3 elements in the list. We want to add the fourth element. So directly we can give that L of index of the new element which we wanted to add, that is 4, equals to the new value of the element which we wanted to add, that is 8.8. If we, after adding, if we print the list, we will get the output, that is 1, 5 and the 8.8 which is added by us. Deleting element from the list. So in order to delete an element from the list, we will just declare the required element which we need to delete as a null. So after adding the 8.8 to the list, if we want to remove the 8.8 again, we can directly declare that list of the required elements which need to be deleted as null. As we want to delete 8.8 which index is 4, so L of 4 tends to null. As we print again, we will get the list with deleted element. Updating elements of a list. Elements are updated with the help of indexes. Let us consider a list named L which contains element 1, 5, N. As it contains 3 elements 1, 5 and N. If we want to change the second element from 5 to 8.8, we can directly initialize it with its index. L of 2 equals to 8.8. If we initialize like that, the second element 5 is replaced by 8.8, and if we print the list, we get the output as 1, 8.8 and N. So let us know how to merge two lists. So consider the two lists L and M. L contains 1, 5, N and M contains 2, A, 9. So we want to merge the two lists. So we use operation called C method and we store the new list in another list. So R is the resultant list and which contains the addition of two lists, that is L and M. So R tends to C of L, N. If we print the R, we get the combination of L and M lists. First we have declared L. So the elements of L is displayed first, that is 1, 5, N, which is followed by the elements of the M, that are 2, A and 9. Thank you.